All right, I'm gonna give you guys the top 5 best macros for Paladin that really enhance the gameplay. It's not like those other macros that have like timers and diminish the way that you play. No, these are just gonna take off global cooldown and global cooldown abilities, mesh them together so that way you have less buttons, but it also works really well and seamless. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so I got my macros broken down basically into 4 categories for Paladin. Number 1, single target DPS. Number 2, AoE DPS. Number 3, hybrid DPS, which is single target and AoE. And number 4, my defensive. So let me show you here on the screen. So Fast Blade combo is going to have 2 of those single target DPS macros. And then here's my AoE DPS, here's my hybrid, and here's my defensives. I'll explain why I've chosen these, and this is how everything gets enhanced really easily for you. So Fast Blade, well, actually before I start, so if you don't know anything about making macros on Final Fantasy XIV, there's a couple of things that you lose. Like number 1, there's no way to get tooltips. You lose that completely. I wish there was a way to do it, but there isn't. So that kind of sucks. So you just kind of have to know what the ability does prior to, read it, and then familiarize yourself with it because you're not going to be able to do it once you use a macro. All right, number 2. If you're going to use like a command like /AC, which means action, /AC means action, and then it's followed up by an ability that's one word, then you don't need quotation marks around the word. If it has 2 or more words, so like Fast Blade or Fight or Flight, if the ability is like this, then you need to have quotations in the beginning and at the end for it to work. Same thing with creating the macro icon here at the top. All right, that being said, let's get into it. So Fast Blade, macro icon is going to be Fight or Flight. And the reason why I chose that is because Fight or Flight is off global cooldown, meaning that it's going to have a timer that I want to know when it's going to appear again or when it's going to become available again as an action item here on my action bar. So that's the reason why I use Fight or Flight to appear as my icon ability instead of Fast Blade. I did the same thing with all the other ones. All right, so long-winded, I know, but all right, so Fast Blade and Fight or Flight are combined into one, and what that looks like is like this. So there's Fight or Flight, and then Goring Blade is ready, right? So if I press the same button again, there's Goring Blade, and then if I press the same button again, there's Fast Blade, and there you go. All right, so then I don't need any macros for Riot Blade, which is the follow-up to my Fast Blade combo. And then finally, I have Royal Authority here, which is going to be Spirits Within and Royal Authority. So it's going to cast Spirits Within, there it is, and then Royal Authority. Oh, so that's basically the single target DPS macro. So these 2 combine. And you see it didn't really take away anything, it just made things very easy and very smooth for you. All right, moving on to the next one, which is going to be the AoE. So it's just going to be Circle of Scorn, and I'll pop it up over here, and then Total Eclipse. And that's it. There's literally nothing else to that. So anytime that Circle of Scorn is available, it's going to tell me, and it'll cast it automatically, and then Total Eclipse. Real quick, I almost forgot. Some tanks like to use things like Circle of Scorn in their single target rotation when they're fighting bosses when they're pulling. So just keep in mind that Circle of Scorn is going to be in your AoE macro, but that's okay. So you can just go in like this, Circle of Scorn, and then go right into your Fast Blade macro. So it's really not taking away anything. We just got to remember where your Circle of Scorn macro is. That way, if you want to open up with that, you can. All right, moving on. All right, next one, Requiescat. So this is the same thing. So Requiescat followed up by Confiteor. I'm probably butchering these names, and that you're just gonna have to forgive me. But the way that looks is just like this. It's all one button. And that's what makes this so beautiful. So there it is. And then Confiteor, and then right into my Blade of Faith, Blade of Truth, Blade of Honor. Yeah, there you go. All of them done right there. And that's all one button instead of having to press, 3 separate buttons. So that just makes it really easy. Now here's the one that's going to be a little controversial, is the defensives. And so the way I've done this is that if you press my defensive button, which for me is Q, it's going to cycle between Reprisal, Bulwark, Rampart, and Guardian. Now, if I need one of these, and this is the reason why I have these on my hotbar here, manually, then I can also select these and not use my macro. So use this one if you'd like. It works really well for me. So as an example, I'm going to use my macro here. So there's reprisal. Let's say now I'm about to pop the next one. It should go right into bulwark. Yep, and there it is. And then sentinel. Boom. And then, or excuse me, not sentinel, but rampart, and then guardian. I did it exactly the way I want. And those are the only ones that I have, because everything else I'd like to have a little bit more manual and control. But those literally free up space on your hotbar, and they also make everything very simple without taking away any of your gameplay or diminishing any of your DPS. So hopefully this works for you. But that's pretty much it, guys. Tell me what you guys thought. Feel free to go back, pause it, slow it down so you can see exactly what I've written out. And if you have any questions on how to create the macros, feel free to message me on the comments down below. Anyway, have a good one, stay beautiful, stay awesome, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.